Hello and welcome. Today's sermon from church was The Heart of Worship Part 1. And he said it's supposed to be a part 1 of 4, but we hardly ever get through anything that's a 4-part. But to start with, the first thing was the heart of worship is personal. And that's something that most people don't understand, is that worship is personal. You know, worship is not something you go to. Worship is something you do. You worship God, or you worship whatever you worship. Me, I worship, God and Jesus Christ, because He died for my sins. Some people worship money. Some people worship cars. Some people worship their house. Some people worship their wife or husband. But but the proper worship is to worship Jesus Christ, because He died for our sins. And when it talks about a personal, it's personal. Nobody knows. I mean, for you, for me, when I'm really deep in worship, I'm basically a statue. I bow my head and I just let the Lord soak in, because I'm normally not that way. I hardly ever slow down and humble myself, except for in reverence to God. I mean, because I'm always all over the place. I mean, if you've watched enough of these videos, know I bounce all over the place. I'm a real hyper person. I'm always constantly moving and talking and everything. And then the next thing was the heart of worship is passionate. And and that's what a lot of people think that passion is just bringing a whole lot to it, which it is. But what do you do to show passion? Do you or to show your passion, is it just humble? You just bow your head and listen. And that's what worship is. That's why you can't talk about the way somebody worships, because you don't know their heart and you don't know whether or not they are worshiping. Some people just do it and they right? And all it's for is just for you to see something. And today, I want to read one verse. And this is obviously a pretty important verse, because this is the second time I've marked it in this Bible. I mean, because I've got a lot of things highlighted and marked. And this verse, which I got from the outline today, this verse is already marked. So let's read it. It's Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. See to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, according to the traditions of man, according to the elementary principles of the world, rather than according to Christ. And that should hit home to you. And it should hit home with most people, because we've all done it. We all get into what people think, what people say. And that's not how we should be. That's not how we should worship. And that's not how we should define ourselves. Define yourself as how you appear to God, not how you appear to people here, or people on this earth, or anybody. I mean, it's how you feel about yourself and how God sees you, not how everybody else sees you. You should do everything for God and not for anybody but you and God. You shouldn't do anything just to please, people. You should do it to please God. And a lot of times, to please God, you must please others. Because He does say, what you do to the least of me, you're doing to me. So that doesn't mean treat people like garbage. That means treat people good, because that's what God has told you to do. Not treat people the way the world tells you should treat them. And don't look down on somebody because they don't worship God, because that's not the way God told us. That's not what Jesus told us when He was here on earth. He embraced everyone. He was here for the sinners. He wasn't here for the righteous. And that's what we must remember is you don't go to church because you're fixed. You go to church to be fixed. You know, you go to church to try and straighten out your life. You go to church to get God to help you. You don't try to fix everything. Then, okay, now then I can go to church and worship Him because I'm perfect now. No, no. No one's perfect, and you never will be without God. But as I always end these things, I've rambled enough now, and I'll see y'all next time. Hopefully it'll be next Sunday, but y'all know how I am. I don't make one of these if I don't go to church, and well, I'm not perfect, and neither is anybody else. So, you know, we'll see you next time.